Hey everybody, it's Larry from Hobby Progress, and today we are going to be assembling a couple of Venomthropes and a Zoanthrope. Um, Hopefully we'll get the Zoanthrope done first, and then we'll look at getting the Venomthropes done. Um, the reason we're assembling another Zoanthrope today is because FAQ dropped. And I had to completely rework my list for the RTT. Yeah, not completely, but mostly rework my list for the RTT. So if you haven't been following, the FAQ has made first turn deep strike not a thing anymore. You cannot deep strike outside of your deployment zone. So basically my strategy for bringing in my Zoanthropes and my Hive Tyrants to screen the rest of my army is not a strategy at all anymore. Can't do it legally. Now I could wait until turn 2, but by then I fear that the rest of my army would be shot up and would not be at enough strength to do any damage anymore. So I am taking out one of my flying Hive Tyrants, because I had 2, and adding back in the Swarm Lord from my original list. So I can use his Hive Commander ability to push Gene Stealers forward. But the reason I'm assembling these Zoanthropes is because instead of using a Tyranid Prime to be my hive mind coverage in the back lines, I am going to use a Neurothrope for that job. And that Neurothrope means that I cannot run all 6 of my, because I only own 6 Zoanthropes. And one of my Zoanthropes is a Neurothrope, so, or is modeled as a Neurothrope. So I'm just going to build another regular Zoanthrope. Also, as a change to my list, I was able to configure points around to get a 4th Venomthrope in there to help guard my Gene Stealers. So with that, I decided that, I'm going to be able to build one more of this box set as that. So these box sets come with 3, either Venomthropes or Zoanthropes. So you can build either or out of it. So I'm building 1 Zoanthrope and 2 Venomthropes out of here. So now I'll have a full squad of 6 Zoanthropes with a Neurothrope, and a full squad of 6 Venomthropes, because I bought another Venomthrope from a friend of mine, along with a whole bunch of other bugs that hopefully we'll be getting into in later painting, because a lot of them have other paint schemes on them that I will have to be redoing. So yeah, that's the main ways that the FAQ has changed my life, and not necessarily for the better. I'm not gonna say it's bad. There are definitely ways around it. I don't think that it's all over or anything like that. It's just annoying, to 5 days before a tournament have to completely change the way you assemble your army. Especially when that means buying new models. Now, there were some changes in the FAQ that I actually did like. The FAQ really kind of killed the spamming of characters and, well, spamming of just about everything except troops. Although I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. I think, overall, it's going to be a good thing. Because now, in a 2,000 point list, which is still where most tournaments are sitting, you could only have 3 of anything other than troops. So you can still spam troops as much as possible. You can still do whatever you want there, as long as your list can hold them. But elites and HQs and everything else is limited to 3. So, no more than 3 flying hive tyrants, no more than 3 squads of dark reapers. This also does not apply to dedicated transports. So you can have, which is a little bit of a bummer because wave serpents are still kind of a deal. Although it's not, I don't think anyone's spamming wave serpents, really. I'm not that up on the meta, so someone out there is probably doing it, and I just don't know about it. Big surprise. But yeah, I was never taking advantage of the unit spam. I was running, 2 flying hive tyrants, so just because they're good, not necessarily because, oh no, some guy in a big tournament is running flying hive tyrants, I need to maximize out. No, I've always owned 2 flying hive tyrants. I like hive tyrants. It's part of what I, enjoy about my list. Now, I'm not trying to get all hipster on you. I liked hive tyrants before hive tyrants were cool. It's not what I'm trying to do. But dang it, I did. That's so much stuff, and I'm so unprepared. Alright. So, unlike when I built a Tech Priest Dominus for you guys, I actually know a little bit about what I'm doing when it comes to assembling a Zoanthrope. Man, that Tech Priest Dominus kicked my butt that night. And if you watched that video and you struggled through it with me, I appreciate you coming back and watching again, because that was a tedious video. Actually, I think I ran out of things to talk about during that one, so yeah. Thanks for sticking with me and following along. But I put together Zoanthropes before, so we're not too far out. And I have my handy dandy assembly instructions for this one. So we're not completely in the dark about that either. So if I've got questions, we're good. But Tech Priest Dominus is a thing. Although it did occur to me after I assembled this Tech Priest Dominus that I'm not painting my Titan Legions. I am having those commission painted. So, I'm probably going to butcher the color scheme on my Dominus and end up having to buy another one because it's going to look so bad compared to the rest of my Legion. But it'll be a fun little side project if I get bored with painting Tyranids. Because, believe it or not, I do get bored every now and then with my Tyranids. That's why I play the Custodes in the first place. Because I wanted, well, one, they're freaking cool. And two, I wanted to try something new. And a little side note hint, when you're assembling minis, just because you know how the pieces fit together, you've assembled a bunch of them, doesn't mean you shouldn't dry fit. Because not every piece is molded exact. GW is really good about it. Their minis are pretty fantastic. But they're not perfect. And sometimes you'll get miscasts and stuff like that. And the last thing you want to do is get everything all glued up and ready to go and then attach it and then it's not what you thought or it doesn't fit together quite right. And, you mess up your mini and have to rip it apart. Especially if you're working with plastic glue like I do on a lot of my minis. If you're working with super glue, it's not as big a deal because super glue you can pop back out, usually. Some super glues still weld really well, but plastic glue doesn't, or does weld like immediately. See, I was sitting here telling you, oh, folks, I know what I'm doing. And apparently, don't know as well as I thought. There are still some bits. Like these back vents. I can't recall exactly which ones go on. So yeah, the list that I'm putting together now, though, the other thing I ditched out of it was my Tyrannocyte. Tyrannocyte also helped me gain points. So, the new strategy, if you've been following along, is to run the Swarm Lord right alongside the Gene Stealers. So you'll have the Swarm Lord and Gene Stealers running at you. Him using his Hive Commander ability to get them to move twice, to get one squad of them to move twice. And then they're all Kraken, by the way, so they're getting the extra movement that Kraken allows. Which I think is key. Sorry, shaking the whole table there. It's like an earthquake. Oh, you can't even see it. Never mind. So, you get the extra movement of Kraken. And then his Hive Commander ability to boot. And then there's a stratagem that allows you to not double your advance, but to, there is a stratagem to double your advance move. So I should, if I've done my math correctly, be able to slingshot one squad of Gene Stealers into assault range turn 1. Now, I may not be able to... I just dropped that sucker on the floor. I may not be able to get both squads of Gene Stealers into assault range turn 1. But I'm really hoping it does. And I've got a low power warning on my phone. So I'm hoping that I can get both squads of Gene Stealers in there. I'm going to plug you guys in here real quick. Bear with me. Poor production quality. Just what you've come to expect from Hobby Progress. Also, have to pick up stuff that I drop on the floor. Otherwise, it will be lost to the warp. Which, it appears that it already is. Because I have no idea where it went. Don't you hate that? Your hobby space? You drop something and it's gone forever? Never to be seen again? Oh well. Luckily, I'm only assembling one out of the 3 Zoanthropes out of this kit. So there are spare bits to be had. So where was I? Oh yeah. So we used the Hive, or the Swarm Lord, to slingshot those guys forward. So I get a squad of Gene Stealers into assault range, turn 1. So at least I've got that nonsense up in your face. I may not have all of my nonsense up there, but it's at least something. Then we'll be looking at... There they are. Got stuff falling over. Gargoyle! And then if that's if I get my opening turn. Well, I mean, that's whether I get my opening turn or not. But the Venomthropes will still be stationed with them. And I will most likely outrun them. Well, not most likely. Even with mediocre rolls. I'll still be able to outrun my Venomthropes. But just in case I don't get first turn, that's where the Venomthropes come in. Because then I can stand out and withstand a turn of shooting before I go down. I won't die right away. I'll be able to have a little bit of resilience. Because they're, of course, projecting their toxin cloud of -1 to hit. People usually target them out and murder them turn 1, but they're not the real threat in close combat. I mean, they got a little mortal wound bubble, but you gotta like roll 6s to get it to work, so it's not a super effective mortal wound bubble. So, but I've never had them last long enough to matter. But they absorb a lot of fire. And that is their only objective. And with 4 of them, I'll be able to absorb a lot more fire. And I think that will be nice. I'm still got Hive Guard. In fact, I've got my actual Hive Guard in. That was another one of the miniatures that I got from my friend. So, a Hive Guard, since they're all sold out on GW. And then I will be proxying in 2 Tyrant Guard that I have my old ones. They'll be proxied in so that I can have my whole list of Hive Guard. It's already been cleared with my TO, so anytime you're going to try to run proxies, make sure you clear it with your TO. Because you don't want to show up day of and realize that your whole list is illegal. It's a real buzzkill for the day. So I've got that. Let's see, what else? What else? So yeah, Swarmlord, 40 Gene Stealers, still deep striking in a squad of 3 Ripper Swarms to do dirty work. My other Flying Hive Tyrant, he's supposed to deep strike in like turn 2 to, you know, help do any outflank maneuvers or get into your back line once the Gene Stealers have done their work. So you still have to either play the stagnant game because you're worried about my deep strikers, or try to play the aggressive game because you're worried about my deep strikers, you know, coming in behind you. So I'm hoping I can throw people off with that. And that's actually a strategy that some people are talking about, is deploying your Flying Hive Tyrants on the board turn 1. And supposedly, for players, it's causing target priority issues. They have to choose, are we going to shoot off the Flying Hive Tyrants and completely annihilate them, or are we going to go for the other threats? You know, I don't know. Some armies are capable of doing pretty widespread damage, and I'd hate to throw my whole army on the board all at once. I think the Swarmlord will cause enough havoc on the board. People will be like, oh no, kill the Swarmlord, I know what he can do. But he's going to be very hard to kill. I wish I could get 6 Venomthropes on the board to protect him, because it takes 6 Venomthropes to protect a monster, but they only offer that protection while there is 6 of them. So the moment you kill one, now they can target the Swarmlord without the -1. And while some people won't realize that, I'm the kind of player that almost feels obligated to tell them that. And yeah, kind of buzzkills the whole thing. So it's something I still got to learn for the competitive stuff, is to keep my mouth shut on rules that will hurt me and let my opponent make the mistakes. But I'm so used to teaching people how to play 40k that I still sometimes have bad habits of teaching my opponents how to beat me. That's why I lose a lot of my games, I think, honestly. So, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and cut this video off short, because Hobby Progress goal is actually met. I have my my Zoanthrope made to fill out my Zoanthrope squad. And I've got my new Venomthrope for that. I don't know if you guys have seen him yet, but I have my Swarmlord already. He hasn't been in a lot of the other list builds because he's still just gray plastic. And so yeah, if you have any comments or suggestions, either leave them in the comments line on the video, or you can email me at hobbyprogress@gmail.com. You know, please send your suggestions to the email, like I said, or the comments on the video. I greatly appreciate them, and I'll try to take into accommodation any suggestions that you may have. If you just want to, you know, say hi and say that you're listening and that you love my videos and I'm doing an amazing job, you know, go ahead and leave those too. If you want to tell me that I suck, well, leave those too. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.